Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from parts unknown. Just kidding. California. Denise Tapscott.
Hello, everyone.
Also from parts up the street from me. Marc Abbott.
Yo.
And I am the beige rage himself, Stephen Van Patten.
Beige rage.
Mercy.
My stars.
This, in case you didn't already know, you should know. I mean, come on. What do you know? This is Beat Wine and Shenanigans, folks.
Now you know.
And I don't know. Now you know.
No.
Exactly.
There it is.
There it is.
Not that either of us has ever been remotely as hood or dangerous as Biggie ever was, but hey.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
No.
No. Which is still my favorite thing to do ever. There's that whole.
Me too. For sure. No.
So here we are, folks, and we are with, and obviously, so we are without Kirk Johnson.
Yeah.
He's out doing his thing, saving lives.
Out and about, right? Doing what he does.
Searching for wine, women, and song.
I think he's in the farmer maggot's crop again.
Okay, that works too. That works too. But Kirk, we love you. We miss you, and yes, whatnot. So, I'm gonna throw out some random shit here. First of all, Eugene Quotes, big Broadway musical director who just had a full-blown heart transplant earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And pulled through. Just text messaged me a couple hours ago. Like, yeah,
nice.
So
nice.
Big up to him. He's part of that crew of post middle of the night after I get out of MTV friends that I used to get drunk with back in the day. So, I'm happy that Eugene is all good. So he can go make musicals about Dolly Parton and other stuff like that.
Yay.
And big shout out to Julia Chernetsky, who is from my heavy metal. I go from my Broadway folks to my heavy metal folks. She recently got diagnosed with breast cancer. But I just want to say, even though she's out in Florida and whatnot, we're still, we're praying for you. We're with you. And absolutely. And all that. So there's that. Marc Abbott, you on a much more positive note, you had a whole show last night.
Oh, yes, I want to hear all about it.
So let's talk about that, please.
It was part of the Gotham Storytelling Festival. I did a show called True Stories about Geekdom and True Stories. So I had 3 favorite storytellers of mine, David Lawson, Matt Stores, and Cindy Freeman come on and tell stories. And I think one of the highlights of the night was Cindy. You talk about how small the universe is sometimes. Cindy's entire story was how she met Matt Smith, who was who played the doctor and was the one responsible for sending him to the way station to sign the wall. What was interesting about that was that I showed up at the way station about an hour after he had done that. To which I was told he and Karen Gilliam showed up. They went into the TARDIS to sign the wall. There were people who came in who had no idea he was in there, started taking pictures of the TARDIS, and then he stepped out. So you can imagine what the look on everybody's face was You come to a random bar and he walks out and you're like,
and for those folks that are listening and kind of new, the way station, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, even though it is referenced heavily in the Stephen Van Patten, Marc Abbott
immortalized.
Yes.
Exactly. Hell at the Way Station. Written by the two of us. So one of the more beautiful things about this establishment, which used to be a bar, is that their main bathroom was molded by the darkness, if I may say.
Yes, it was
molded to resemble a TARDIS. For those of you that I know, and now that I think about it, Denise missed it completely.
Oh, totally. Yeah. She would have.
I would have loved that. Oh,
yeah,
man.
but the thing was, Denise would have come in. She'd have met everybody, and then like 2 nights later, everybody been like, "So where's Denise? Like you've been there this whole time." And it's like, "What do you mean she's not here anymore? When she coming back?" It's like, that's how.
You know what? I mean, that was so. Way Station was definitely Marc's.
Cheers.
Where it was his Cheers, absolutely, where everybody knows Marc's name. And it was funny, and I'm not trying to throw shade because I get it. I would show up, and honestly, like, so if Marc was Norm, like they used to kind of look at me like I was Frasier or Lilith.
He was Frasier crazy.
I was like for real, like they were
I'm
like
Stephen Van Patten.
They were not necessarily they were cool because I was with Marc, but they were like, yeah, you pretty Ricky nigga, like that's kind of how they were with me. Like and no like I said, no shade whatsoever. It's all. But Marc, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he was the guy that was like if we showed up together, everybody be like, "Hey, Marc, man, Stephen, it's so great to see you." If Stephen got there before me, everybody be at the bar. So Stephen, where's Marc?
Oh yeah, that was
Steven,
sick. That was Marc's fucking spot.
Steven would do his Frasier Crane. Marc is on his way, and I resent the fact that anybody in here. Okay, thanks, Steven. So anyway, like we were saying,
and not for nothing, I think there was at least one cat that you used to rock with in there that swore up and down I was trying to steal his little lady, and I was just like, no, not really. I'm just making polite conversation, but he would be looking at me like.
But to Steven's credit, Steven, every so often Steven would show up. There'd be a bartender turn around and be like, and I'm like, how the hell they just started working here? How did they know?
Yeah.
Steven left a laundry list of bartenders that he knew in New York City. And somehow they all passed through that bar. And it was a good time. It was like Sunday nights.
No, it was a good time. And that's why we placed it as our location for the book in the first place, man.
It just
that's awesome.
And it's sad because the last thing we did before the doors shuttered was we gave the owner a first printing of Hell at the Way Station. And then that literally was February. And then like the next week, the pandemic happened.
That's right.
They had just celebrated. He had just celebrated like 5 or 6 years of being open. And halfway through the pandemic, he just sent the email out, was like, I can't keep the doors open no more, because a lot of the bars in New York, they would allow people to come and get liquor. You know, you wanted something, but the problem was where his bar was right in front of the bus station. So he couldn't put things outside to have people kind of standing around and things of that nature. So
oh no.
So now the place is they divide because they used to have an event space.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
I think when I visited you guys pointed it out. You're like, that used to be the way station.
It had an event space. The new, I guess the owner divided it in half, and now it's another weed store.
No.
Because they're popping up all over New York. They're like the plague. Like every third store on the block is a smoke shop.
Or a Halloween store, right?
There you go. Halloween adventure just crawls.
I can handle a Halloween adventure every other block.
So, and then they turn the other half. It's supposed to be a pet store. Like there's been a sign up there for eons. I don't even know if they're actually going to open that store or what it is.
Random.
But it's one of those things where
that's random.
Yeah.
But that's Brooklyn gentrification for you. That shit's random as fuck.
We missed that place because it really was. It was a home away from home. It was a nerd bar. It was. I think one of my favorite memories of that place was one Halloween. So the stores along Washington Avenue often give out candy and stuff.
Oh.
So one Halloween, I go in there. I'm dressed as Nick Fury.
Nice.
And I sit down at the edge of the bar, and next to me is Tony Stark. And a dude dressed as Superman. Nice. So we're all, we're like at the edge of the bar where the door is. Yeah. So the door opens and a group of little kids come in. And the first thing, like they look and they do a double take is Superman sitting at the bar holding a scotch.
Oh no.
So of course, the dude is Tony the dude is Tony Stark was like, they know my deal. And we just get that right. And it's like, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, but the guy dressed as Superman, some people take things to just another height. Yeah. He turns around and starts acting like Superman, drunk Superman from Superman 3. And he turns around and goes, what are you looking at? Huh? Get out of here. I'm not saving anybody today. And he turns his back. And I was like, wow.
And meanwhile, the closest these kids have actually seen to a drunk superhero is probably Hancock. So it's like, yeah, you fucking up.
Right.
You fucking up in life. Life.
But we had our good days. We had a lot of fun in that bar.
That's so cool.
And it's sad that it had to close, but
yeah.
It's like anything else. You kind of it was great when it was there. We had people walked away with friendships, fond memories, and a lot of laughs. Yeah. And you find someplace else, but the all that to say the storytelling show was absolutely fantastic. We had a really fun time. I had some friends I hadn't seen in a while came and hung out. So
nice.
It was good. The question now has been posed as to if I'm bringing back my storytelling show. I used to have one before the pandemic. Man, you gotta hear this. And it's funny, that title, because it was just, man, you got to hear this. And a friend of mine in California, every time he would call me, he's like, yo, Mark, you busy? No, what's up? Man, let me tell you what happened. Man, you got to hear this. You're not going to believe
I say that all the time, too. Man.
You are not going to believe
I don't care if you're male or female. I'll talk to my sister. Man.
You know what I'm about to tell you.
Right.
So I was like, and then the poster for the show was this guy. I found it online.
That poster was bananas.
It was a dude sitting in a yard, like in a Brooklyn, like a brownstone yard, and he's standing there, and there's like a 30-foot python next to him, and a dog drinking from a dish, and people like, what the hell? And I was like, yeah, I know you the one.
Yes.
Man, I want to hear that story.
Man, I gotta hear this.
But as long as I've been looking at that poster, I have always been wondering, like, all right, so what is the actual fucking story there? Because it's like, there's a python that could easily kill that dog.
Yeah.
And then there's this old fucking, like Sanford and Son looking dude. And it's like, yeah, whoa. But good on you, Mark, for first of all, for even finding that, using it as part of your marketing thing. And as a sometime audience member and occasional participant in Man, You Gotta Hear This, I gotta tell you, man, it's like, that's just a fun night. It is like a super, super fucking thing. And Mark hosts the hell out of it. It's just a bomb.
That's so cool.
And the thing is, so I, even whether I'm making it or not, I often share Mark's public appearances.
I try to also
on my Instagrams.
Yeah.
So it's like, no,
of course, man. Yeah.
But it's just so funny because with all of the side stuff we do and the stuff we do together and everything else like that, it's like I sometimes feel like people don't really understand what we are going through, dealing with, you know what I mean? Because every once in a while you'll get that text message, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? And it's like, well, no, I can't because of a public appearance I told you about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, basically, I guess it's not really a complaint, but it's like, well, goddamn, all of us, including Kirk, and we all have something happening. That we need to like kind of plug every once in a while, and when that happens, it'd be nice if people actually paid that shit some mind.
Yeah. For me, I was kind of on pause with the whole SAG strike. Like, I couldn't even look at anything. I was like, I'm going to focus on my writing, which I always do anyway. But
yes.
While they were striking, I was like, no. But now that supposedly that's no. But now that's over, it's like, release the hounds.
Yeah, exactly. And from my standpoint, as far as the day job goes, that means we're going to get way better guests.
Yeah, you will.
In the coming weeks. On at least on the Tamron Hall show. So and it's funny because speaking of that, like I hear we're getting Vanessa Williams.
Ooh.
And she gonna sing a Christmas carol.
Oh, nice.
I'm not ready for Christmas. I'm not ready for Christmas.
Me either. And that's the thing. But I'm forced to deal with these Christmassy people.
No.
Oh shit! I wish I could say.
I know. I can't wait till after Thanksgiving. Damn it!
But they did like Thanksgiving is turned into like the son nobody wanted. It's like poor Thanksgiving is like
it's like Flag Day,
and it's like, dude,
hey everybody,
don't just sit down. It's
like
appetizers
in the corner, bro.
But I mean, now that we all know that Thanksgiving is literally a Christopher Columbus whitewash.
Yeah. There's also Indigenous Peoples Day.
No. You're right. There's Indigenous Peoples Day, which
I noticed that pause. Like...
No, Denise, look.
No, in a good way. I'm the bad guy on you. I'm not.
No. It's like I understand the point of Indigenous People Day and the whole nine. It's like I'm certainly not pushing against that. It's just the whole it's
the original concept, like
it's the fact that here we are in second grade, and all we know is the Pilgrims and the Indians got along, and here's some turkey, and I'm like, yo, I grew up with the same thing, with running around in the playground playing cowboys and Indians, and nobody wants to be a fucking Indian. Right now, I'd be an Indian for real. I'd be chasing my friends around with an actual fucking tomahawk. Like, hey, come here. You know?
Yeah.
It's like we were sold a bill of goods.
Yeah.
As far as Thanksgiving is concerned, I ain't even gonna get into Christmas because then I'm just gonna make. I realize if I start getting into Christmas, I'm just gonna make motherfuckers mad. And
too late.
And it's like
I'm kidding.
But you understand what I'm saying? So it's like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and then going back to Hell at the Way Station, right? So I do two. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them anti-Christmas stories, but I definitely. I
read your story. I read your story.
Mark is laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at you.
Like my dad can't read that. My dad cannot read that story.
Because no, you haven't lived till you hear him read it. That's the
I
thing.
Heard him
like
read it. I did.
He had me in the back of this bar one night crying because every time he got to the succubus, he's like ho ho ho, and I was like, and I'm like. Here's the thing. Steven writes certain things.
Yeah.
There are things he writes, and then there are things that he writes and reads.
Right.
And there's a handful of things that he's done where he's read it and it just stayed with me. And I know that there'll be days that there has to be one point Steven's like, yo, man, let it go. Give it a rest. you mention that damn thing every time we did get. But I mean, it's his work.
Yeah.
Because I realized that this is about a couple of weeks ago when he was talking about working on Killer Genius. And there's a scene in Killer Genius too that I don't know why. Every so often you read something and you laugh so hard. I was on the train with tears coming down my eyes over this argument that these two guys were having in a bar. And one of the guys basically, he puts the nail in the coffin. He says something to the guy, and it's the response of the whole bar. Like everybody's like, oh, but
no.
It's how he described the dude's face. Because I've seen that before when two people are going at it and finally one person finally gets the really good rib in and then they start looking like they're contemplating life like maybe I shouldn't be here kind of thing. and go ahead.
And so what's funny about that, and I know exactly because I wrote the motherfucker, but I know what Mark is talking about. So I spent a lot of time hanging out at the bar in the back of Junior's restaurant. Now, it's Junior's world famous cheesecake factory place on DeKalb and Flatbush in Brooklyn. And for those of you that, for the handful of you that don't know what I'm talking about. All right. This is I'm pretty sure they have landmark status at this point. That's how long the restaurant's been around. That's how much and you go in the restaurant and suddenly I feel neglectful that we didn't take you to Junior's when you were here, Denise. But
you did take me. You and Kirk took me. We had breakfast, and I had the Bloody Mary.
Breakfast,
that's right. The food was so good, and I had to have the cheesecake to go.
But then there's pictures of like presidents and all kinds of shit up on the walls and et cetera, et cetera.
And I was like, this is definitely like, I'm in New York. Like, this is like an important place to be. Yeah.
But what's funny about it is back in the day before the neighborhood was gentrified, that bar was a scene.
Oh, wow.
It was a scene, and it was so many retired law enforcement people.
Oh, wow.
That there were some nights I was probably the only, between the drug dealers and the retired law enforcement, I'm probably the only dude in there without a gun.
Oh my gosh.
And
wow.
And it was a scene, and they would, and back in the day when the restaurant actually cared about their Black customers, dudes would come out with plates of chicken tenders and fish, little fish fillet things. Oh my God. And I was just there. I was just a part of it because I grew up in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool. Yeah.
But I was also a lot at the time. I was a lot younger than the cats that were hanging out in there.
Okay.
And I just remember this dude, Bernie, retired law enforcement dude. And he was what you would classify, if you were really going into your colorism bag, you kind of classify him as a red bone.
Oh, okay.
He was also not the most sophisticated cat in the world. And he would constantly, like, basically, if I got to be completely honest, he's one of those cats that, can't really talk to women locally, so he's got to go to DR. He's got to go to DR to get his rocks off. And he wasn't the only one. It was a few of those motherfuckers.
It's a thing. I get it.
It was a few of those motherfuckers. Right. It was a thing until Essence Magazine blew dudes up. It's like, by the way, when your husband says that he is hanging out with his friends in DR, he's getting a prostitute. And not just a prostitute, by the way, a prostitute that would literally hang with him all weekend.
Right.
And just and cook. That was the wildest thing. They would tell me these stories about all the stuff they would do to these girls, and then they would cook on top of that. And and it's like, Steve, you got to come. And I'm like, I ain't trying to run up and know that you've been with, because I know you. And it's like, ew. And if I really want to do all that, and if I really want to do that, there's stuff in Brooklyn I could do, It's like, I ain't gotta go to DR for that. Anyway, I know I'm fucked up, but anyway,
random.
So the wild thing about it is, a lot of people in the bar didn't even like him. Not that he cared, not that whatever, but he figured, big brolic, red bone dude, whatever. Kind of looking like my man who is originally driving the bus in Speed.
Oh.
And then he gets shot, and then Sandra Bullock has to take over. That's about as best a description I can give you for Cat. So
that's funny.
He said some old off the cuff nonsense to me, and right as the music died, I said something to the effect of, "Yeah, whatever, Frankenberry." And the entire bar, everybody's like, and that was because at the time I was the young, relatively unknown dude in the scene, and I made mad friends that night. I just for calling him Frankenberry. And then
you put him on blast.
But what was wild was, because he was on some keep your enemies close type mess, like he would insist that I come into his serial killer van that he used to drive and go down to this other spot, Essence. And I took Kirk to Essence, by the way, on some way more innocent shit than this. So Essence is I used to love Essence. I used to love that bar because on Sunday nights, before I used to record Beef Wine and Shenanigans on Sunday nights, you would go there, right? Full on band and a guy, and just to justify it. So in American Gangster, the scene where everybody's going to watch the Ali Frazier fight in Madison Square Garden, and Denzel's character, Frank White, I think it's like he gets busted because he's got that fur coat on. Right. Yes. So all that make believe for the sake of the scene thing, they used this same dude to play James Brown in the scene in the movie.
Oh.
And the reason he's has passed since, but Denise, hand to God, if you were to go into Essence and close your eyes, you would swear you were listening to James Brown.
Oh, wow.
I kid you not.
Oh, wow.
So the wild thing is, Juniors would close up and then we'd all go traipsing off to Essence.
Okay.
And dudes look, here's the thing. I was just chilling. I was just like, as far as, getting into something, if it happened, it happened. If not. I'm just out. I'm just having a good time.
Right.
And this dude, like, oh my God. The wild thing was, like, if I had my motorcycle, then I followed the serial killer van. And if not, then I would be in the serial killer van.
Oh my God.
And either way, I would get in there, and and it was one of those situations where people would know me, but this was hood as fuck. It was hood as fuck. But then my man would start singing that James Brown shit, and it was a whole different kind of vibe. It was a crazy vibe, and it's like, and I missed that. I got in there. I really missed that. But I also miss Juniors being what it was, because Juniors, before everything surrounding got gentrified, that motherfucker was like the Good Times painting.
Oh, wow.
It was like the Good Times painting. And I bring all of that full circle because the scene in Killer Genius 2 that Mark is referring to, a lot of me just sitting there watching these slightly older dudes signifying all up on each other. That has a lot to do with what inspired that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Can I tell James? And I think Mark went with me once, so he gets the call. He's like, oh, okay. He's reading it, and he's like, I know where you got this.
I know where you got this from.
I know where you got this from. But what were you gonna say, Denise? I'm sorry.
I was like, can I tell like a short James Brown story?
You can tell whatever you want.
Okay.
Wait, you met James Brown?
Yes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A million years ago, when I used to work in radio up in the San Francisco Bay Area, I worked for this radio station called KDIA, the Soul of the Bay. And we would have different artists come in, and James Brown came in. But I was almost too young for the position I was in. I was a production manager. So James Brown comes in, and it's around the same time that he's accused of like beating his wife. So me being like a 20-something, I was like, he beats his wife. Not realizing this is James Brown, the legend.
Legendary Fuck James his Brown. Wife. Well, not really, but come on.
Not really, but I was like,
but no, yeah.
And so he comes in, and I need him to just say, welcome to KDIA, Soul of the Bay. And so I was like, just speaking to the microphone. And people were looking at me like, how could you talk to him this way? And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And then he says, it's okay. She's young. It's fine. Go on, sweetheart. Do what you have to do. And I was like, yeah, he's kind of charming, even though he beats his wife. And he recorded the stuff. And he was like, "It's nice to meet you," and I was like, "It's nice to meet you too." Like I had like these conflicting emotions going on, and then later I go home and I tell my parents I met James Brown, and they're like, "You met James Brown?" And I was like, "Yeah, I met James Brown." Now that I'm older, realizing that I met this legend, and he could have like thrown a fit. He could have been like, "Take this biatch out." Like he could have said anything, but still, he was just right because it's James Brown. But instead, he's like, "No, she's young. It's okay." And he was still like really nice to me. I was like, "Wow, I met that man." Like James Brown. That's one of my embarrassing moments in life. But I was just really naive. I was young. I wasn't,
I don't know why I thought Denise was going to be like, we had to get him to say that thing more than once. Okay, look, James. It's like,
we need you to enunciate.
You need to enunciate. Oh. It's like,
so good to me. We did have him recorded a couple times, but everyone was just like starstruck. He was perfect with everything he did. Yeah. He had that perm going.
Oh,
you just dressed 3-piece suit. Yeah.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. He was a classic. Yeah, I met a lot of artists, and I wish that I was more mature then to appreciate the people that I met more. I met great people. It was wonderful, but like now that I'm 523, it's like, dang.
Well, I think that's the other thing. I think we all forget that these folks are just like everybody else.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, we all, Steven works in television. You're you run into these people all the time at the airport. They're just trying to get from point A to point B.
Point A to point B. Absolutely.
I've had my share of run-ins where years ago I went to the Essence Music Festival and was waiting to come home. And LL Cool J sits down next to me in the airport, and this one of those, wait, what? And he's just sitting there, and I'm like, and he's like, how you doing? All right, hey, how you doing? He goes, oh damn, this ain't even my gate. I'm sorry, bro. And I was like,
he should be going back to LA.
Going back to Cali.
You're going back to Cali.
Yes. One of my favorite actors was Tiny Lister. He was the nicest man. The nicest man. He'd fly all the time from LA to Phoenix.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah. And people would ask for his autograph, and he'd be like, no. And TMZ would show up, and they'd ask if they could like record him. He's like, no, man, I'm just trying to get back home. But the nicest man. He invited me to go to church with his wife. It was great. It was nice. Really, really nice man. Just, like gentle giant, but you obviously wouldn't know unless you talked to him. Yeah.
Right.
It's fucked up. I did hear he invited me, and I was like, oh God.
Kind of the last person you want to invite to church.
years ago, I had gone back to Clark for homecoming. No, it wasn't a homecoming event. I was going to visit some friends. I was on the campus. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, listen, I got this interview that I got to do later, but I can't make it. Would you mind going and filming it for me? And I was like, all right, well, who we talking about here? And he goes, all right, so this cat. He just came out. He just did this Candyman movie too. And I was like, Tony Todd? And he's like, you know him? I was like, I don't know him, but I know like this was at the cusp of his like.
Oh my God!
He was doing press for Candyman 2.
Wow!
So he sends me and one of the girls that's going to interview him, and of course college girl. She goes in there. We set up everything. He sits down, and she spends a large portion of the interview talking about herself. So it's like she would ask him a question and he would be like, yeah, I started acting and this, that, the other thing. And she goes, as a person who's trying to break into the acting business, I'm trying to do this, that, the other thing. And I'm just, I'm filming the whole thing and he's doing his thing. So when we finish, I said to him, hey, I really enjoyed your work in Night of the Living Dead because he did the the remake.
With
Tom Savini. And he's like, oh, thank you. And I was like, I'm just curious about something. I'm like, I mean, you stepped into the role that Dwayne Jones made famous. I mean, was that something you were nervous about doing or something? And he looks at me and goes, why weren't you interviewing me? And he was like, he's like right in front of everybody. He's like, you should have been the one interviewing me.
That part.
Because you seem to know who I am. And I'm like,
there you go.
Oops.
Yeah.
And it's
I
was like, I told my boy, I was like, you actually should have been there because you probably would have been able to be like, you know what, we're gonna do a second one and we'll put Mark in there and let him talk.
Yes, for real.
I'm like,
yeah. I met him and when I met him, he was very intimidating. Very, very intimidating.
It's funny. I saw him at a comic book convention at a Long Island comic book thing. And this dude came up and was like, he's like, say the line from The Rock. And he was like, what line? And he goes, the line that you said in The Rock.
Oh,
and he
shit.
Goes, and he's looking at the dude and he was like,
I don't like soft ass shit. What, that line?
No, you're gonna love this. He's like, which line are you referring to? He goes, I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
Oh, and he was like, God.
And he looks at the guy and he goes, but I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy. And the dude jumps up. He's like, thanks, man. And he walks off and he looks at me. And he didn't remember me, but he looks at me and he goes, I didn't even say that. I was like, I know you didn't. No, that was
Stephen Harris, right?
Yes. He was like,
don't ask me why I remember the other black dude.
But what's funny, he was like, who said that? I was like, Stephen Harris. And he was like, he was insisting I say this.
Whoa, that's no good.
God,
that's no good. That's actually no good.
No.
Right. Yeah. Like if we could find that guy right now, I want to like tie him to the bottom of a canoe and then go over a waterfall.
I don't think I've ever.
And I said that because I can't keep saying I want to catapult people into the sun because that gets old after a while. And I gotta tell you, I said that shit earlier today. I think I was talking about Vivek.
Ramaswamy.
Thank you.
Yes, that guy.
I was like, he came up in casual conversation this morning. And I was like, I just wish I could just catapult him into the sun. And mind you, I was around people who haven't heard me say that before. Like you two would be like, oh, shut up, Steve. You're trying to catapult everybody into the sun. But
who doesn't? There's a line. Let there be a line.
Let there be a line. But so
let there be a line.
I need to, I don't know. I need to vary my shit up a little bit. But
you'll figure out to mix it up.
I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Third ring of Saturn. I don't know. Nothing wrong with that.
I always like to unleash 1,000 ninjas upon someone. If I could release 1,000 ninjas upon your ass.
Yeah. It's crazy 88s.
Right? Oh my God, that would be awesome. Even though some of them were actually, well, I mean, I didn't have to fight the crazy 88s. I'd be a dead motherfucker. I'm just saying. But so speaking of Soul Scream Anthology, which Mark and I are in it, and I maybe we should take a moment to just talk about different anthologies that we're in, because I gotta tell you the one thing that kind of messed with me a little bit yesterday, trying to give them a little read from my Aztec zombie story. I'm sorry, Aztec mummy story. So it's based in ancient Aztec culture.
Ooh.
And it was a deep dive. And Marc was a part of this journey because we both got asked to come up with mummy stories.
Oh, wow.
Both got that were supposed to land in an anthology that never actually happened.
Oh,
and
that sucks.
And so what's wild about that is, then there was the guidance of, well, maybe you don't want to do a full-blown Egyptian Imhotep kind of thing. Right? So, and Marc did a story too, and from what I remember, Marc's story was actually pretty good.
These stories are good. I like his stories.
But but to be fair, it was also a long time ago, so it's not the most freshest thing in my mind right now. It's like last time I saw a Maltese Falcon, you know what I'm saying? It's just like
right.
I know I had a good time, but yeah. But anyway, so my story, Aztec mummy, mad research, all these things I can't pronounce. So now I gotta get on the Chris Ryan podcast thing and try to pronounce these names. And I'm like, I'm just getting back from CBS and late night handling college basketball coverage and everything else like that. And I had forgotten about this completely.
Oh, wow.
So I literally had 45 minutes to figure out how to pronounce all these different Aztec names and all this, and it was just a mess. I mean,
oh, wow.
I think I kind of played it off or whatever, but I know but I know for a fact, like if like a Danny Trejo or somebody like that is actually ever ends up listening to this, they're gonna be like, Steve, you full of shit. So
Danny Trejo, very nice man. Another one I met at the airport. Super nice. You see him, you're like, this dude's like hella scary. But then you talk to him, so nice, so humble. We're like, we love all your movies. And he's like, thank you so much. That means so much to me. And I was like, yeah, come to LA.
But he was also trying to holler at you. Let's face it.
No, he was like really genuine guy.
I'm messing around.
There are ones that do try to holler. He was not one of them. I'm just much respect for that man.
All right.
Much respect.
All right.
I got to.
I don't mind that at all.
But he would correct you, I'm sure.
Oh, he would have corrected the fuck out of me. I can't even front. And you know what? Rightfully so. But it was it turned into an interesting conversation in terms of, because I and I'm not gonna like recap the whole thing, but basically it's like we hit points where it's like, back in the day, average established white writer could write about whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. You cross into different cultures. You ain't never been no Aztec anything. You ain't never been this. You ain't never been that. But you can, and it's taken the way it's taken.
Yeah.
So the overcorrection is then no one from outside of a culture can write, because not for the sake that they're not being accurate and respectful, but just for the fact that you're not of that culture.
Oh, okay.
And we talked about one of the things that we covered in that conversation was the sort of general overcorrection. Because on one hand, let's face it, you've got one half of the country, and that's the country that votes for a certain orange racist dickhead. You got that one side of the country, they don't care, first of all, if they're actually reading science fiction or anything like that, it's like, God bless them.
If they can read it all.
because there's that, and then there's just the fact that, a lot of those people, like if they are watching science fiction, if they are watching, certain things that we all know and love, Planet of the Apes, Star Trek, whatever, it's like you're watching it and you are literally missing the point.
Yeah.
Because all of that, all that stuff, and especially Star Trek, If you think about it, especially Star Trek. Star Trek, more so than any of the other franchises, it literally is an encouragement to speak to your better angels.
Yeah. Boldly
100% all day, every day. Star Wars is fun because also, you know what it is? Star Wars deals with actual familial dysfunction.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm your father.
I'm your father.
But in a galactic sense, you're like a half robot, but you're telling me that you're my father and we're both mildly telekinetic.
Right.
And we're beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And that chop off your hands.
And that's you know, that's a whole other thing. But you know, and I'm not necessarily trying to, you know, say Star Trek and Star Wars and necessarily, you know, it's like it's two different things. It's like people are trying to compare the two. It's like, no, I'm not even really into that because it's literally like comparing grits to Frosted Flakes. It's like they are two different fucking things.
Right. They are breakfast foods, but two different things entirely.
Exactly. And you know, but so it's just funny because I look at Star Trek sometimes and I'm just like, yeah, they're trying to say stop the bullshit. And every like if you watch, especially now that we've got all these streaming, you know, all these different series and everything else like that, it's literally be smart, speak to your better angels, and get your shit straight, you know.
And I love Strange New World. Oof.
Yeah.
Strange. Oh my God! And that was the other thing. Strange New Worlds was the shit. It was genius. It was genius. Every last bit of it was genius. You know, and it's like here we are in this catacomb of bullshit now. It's like, how is it? And I'm pivoting into Trump shit for a little bit. We don't have much more time, but I did want to say this. It's like the thing that came out recently. It's like the AG is asking this motherfucker, hey, did you read the statements? And I'm imagining it's financial statements. Did you read the statements for 2021? And this motherfucker talking about, well, you know, I was president and I did this and I did that and da 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 da. And then and they had to correct him and say, sir, you weren't president in 2021.
Sorry. Dummy.
You know, and you know, you read the little snippets here and there, and truth be told, I've been working on a bunch of shit. I've been doing a Jim Thorpe episode for extra credit. I've been working on this thing that Denise asked for specifically.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Which, by the way, will bring the one and only Zenobia.
Yes.
It will bring Rusty C. Nail into Zenobia's life.
I'm very excited.
And I'm very excited. I'm just gonna warn everybody right now. You may end up crying doing part of this shit.
Yes.
When you read it.
I love it.
You may be all in your feelings. You may literally, your whole insides will be all like, ah! So I'm just warning you now.
Yay! Yes.
It's almost done. It would be done.
Don't forget to write me a story.
If I had been working on the Jim Thorpe thing. Jim Thorpe,
yeah. Which
Jim
is
Thorpe.
Super important.
Fascinating.
Man.
And he came up in a time where they were sending these Native American boys to be indoctrinated into white culture. They would they would take their blankets and all the stuff around their necks and, you know,
Yeah.
dream
They would
catchers.
cut all their hair off.
And they cut their hair. And the school where Jim Thorpe was, it wasn't even the only school. There's like a bunch of them where they would just, they would just literally strip these children of their culture, and their motto was kill the Indian, save the man.
Wow.
That was their motto.
That is heartbreaking.
It's beyond the pale. Beyond the pale.
Wow. Wow.
But I think
that would take a lot of energy to write that story. Like,
well, also, but you know what's funny is it's like, so I workshop it with the guy, with Matt Kroll, who actually reads it, and another gentleman, Robert Rath. And so we kind of like all bat it back and forth. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'll be honest, they not let me say anything too militant. Like they'll let me tell the story. They'll let me tell the story, but they don't let me get too far. They don't let me get too far into my shit. You know,
to kind of keep you focused a little.
Well, no, because I would either. I mean, y'all know me. I'm petty motherfucker. I'm petty motherfucker. So I'm gonna say some shit.
Petty with a capital P. All day and twice on Sunday.
And speaking of that, so you know what the ironic thing about all of that is, my grandmother's name was Petty. Like that was her name. That was her name. My grandmother's name was Petty.
Oh my stars.
That's right.
Petty, come in.
Petty.
Petty, come in,
girl. Sure was.
I don't know where Stephen got it.
There you go.
It's in your genes. It's in your DNA.
It's totally in my DNA, child. Please.
That is awesome.
And my grandparents were moonshiners. I don't know if I told you guys that.
Wow. My grandfather was a moonshiner too.
See?
We had him in my family too.
Yeah, man.
He was in the South. There's a still somewhere.
Right.
So that's why you didn't go back up in them woods.
No.
Mess around.
That's what we need to do. We need to start making. That's right. Fuck around and find out. We need to make a beef wine and shenanigans moonshine brand.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And my sister's looking to like make some stuff. She's very creative. Yeah, we could make it happen. We could definitely make it happen. We could.
Yeah, we put
She's
your
looking at recipes how to make
bar on the label. Fuck all that.
She would make the label.
So Stephen,
yes, sir.
Tell us what the inspiration of this book was. I don't even remember writing this. Moonshine is like. I wrote that. It's like, yeah,
critically acclaimed.
Critically acclaimed.
New York Times bestseller.
It's like the fourth, on the cover of Forbes 500. Like, I don't even know how I got here. It's like
exactly.
It's like, Mark, you even no, man.
Man.
I start my car with it.
I'll be like, what?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
What?
Fuck a Tesla. Fuck a Tesla.
Beef, wine, and shenanigans.
Beef, wine, and shenanigans.
All right. Anyway, folks, that's our time. We're a little on a free spirit here tonight, so hope you enjoyed it. I don't know, folks. We like I said, we got so much shit going on. But we appreciate you for rocking with us. We appreciate you tuning in. Jules, Julian. Just want to holler at him real quick because he just text messaged me a little while ago. He listened.
Julian,
he was like,
"Oh my
God, this is my life right now."
I miss him so much. Him and his.
Well, we're gonna fix that.
Okay,
we're gonna go, but we love you all for listening, and we love you all for just being you. Mean it. Peace out. Later.